What's going on, everyone? How you doing today? My name is the Leaping Lemur and welcome back to another video. Y'all, today we're going to be talking about the PoopSquatch Andrew Ditch once again. Now, last time we talked about Andrew Ditch, he had freaked out at the facility he was staying at and got discharged as a result. Now, today we're going to be talking about the response he made to that video in my comment section and breaking it down, as well as talking about some other schizoid shit he said a little bit later in the day. But first, let's talk about his initial response to my video, and then we'll get into the crazy shit he started saying. Now, these first string of responses, I'm just gonna read all together because they're basically just one response broken up into 3 different comments. He first starts off with saying, "I don't have capacity to make a decision to discharge." He then writes a little bit later, "I need this help. My child record shows I need the same help and I need help with my basic needs. I love to ask you something. The facility didn't accept my diagnosis. They send me to the hospital. The psychiatrist says I have the diagnosis and on appropriate medications for my diagnosis. Even their own psychiatrist at the facility said I am diagnosed with autism and intellectual disability and I need change to ADHD medication. However, the facility was going to put me on medicine that I had been on before that caused me more behavior issues. See, change bothers me. It's not fair to ignore this trigger. Can't cope with changes is a symptom of autism. During the entire video, they said I have capacity according to the hospital, who said I did not have capacity. They said I can sign out AMA and force me to do so, but they wouldn't let me just run away because I need a safe discharge. However, I had no other option. It looks like a bad emotional, but I can't tell you what they are feeling. I have a hard time understanding emotional of others, but I think since you pointed out, they are at the wrong. Andy, everyone knows that you're faking autism. I mean, you yourself know that you're faking autism, right? You're sitting here writing full sentences, you're saying full sentences, and then you go on to purposefully make grammatical errors, so it sounds like you have an intellectual disability. It's fucking sad, dude. I mean, this whole fucking comment was a bunch of bullshit. The whole thing about how a symptom of autism is that you can't take change, and that's the reason why he was freaking out over the change of his medication and diagnosis is wild. You don't have autism, dude. That's why they change your diagnosis. You have some kind of personality disorder, and that's why you need all this attention. And I mean, he continues to just comment on my shit. He commented later, and I'll read that for you guys next, but it just continues to get more and more crazy. I think he started getting desperate at the end and just wanted me to believe he had autism, even though I still don't believe that shit. Just because you start talking about Paw Patrol doesn't mean that you have autism, dude. It just means that you're a fucking weirdo. Now, this next set of comments are the last coherent ones before he starts going off on his schizoid bullshit. I mean, these ones you can actually read, you can understand what he means. The next, he's just going off about Paw Patrol bullshit, trying to reinstate the idea that he has some kind of mental illness. But let me continue reading these ones that make sense before I show you guys the crazy shit. Andrew first starts off with this long comment that reads as follows. "Let me be clear that before this happens, that triggered me was I was promised to speak with social worker who refused to see me. Then when she did, she said I need a doctor order to get the DNA test when I have it all set up and established patient with the doctor. They also said the autism teat was needed, but then they were only treat my back, not the developmental PR behavioral issues. Yet they were treating the behavioral issues. They then said the testing wasn't ordered but in process. I didn't fully understand this and consent changes. It was why I was asking and asking, but no one helping me understand what to expect and when. By the way, only after my complaint about the nurse pushed me who got fired, by the way. It was apparently her second time doing that. This happened. See, my issues are I'm capable of repeating things that other people say and write. I'm able to repeat things that happen. I'm able matching words that other people say, and I respond to that. This is the issue here. It makes me sound so knowing what my triggers are and what I need and how to help me, but I'm not able to use that information myself. Just because I said I think they are wrong for how and why they look, but I am not able to know for sure." He then follows that up with, "My dad is making a complaint about the home. If you look at the reviews for this facility, it's not good at all. So you know this. I have no reason to believe I don't need this help I am asking for because it's something I always needed help with since a little boy and is documented." Grammatical errors aside, this whole comment is filled with contradictions. In the beginning, he talks about how he word matches and he only repeats and doesn't understand what he means, but by the end, he talks about how he was able to comprehend what they were doing to him somehow. It just doesn't really make sense. sense. And then the whole thing about the facility, I really don't care. In my other video, he made this long comment about how the facility he was staying at was charged with some shit. And I'll give you that, Andy. Maybe the facility is bad. I mean, they took you in after all, but that's not really the point of the video. The point of the video was all the bad shit you were doing that has nothing to do with these charges against the facility or the fact that you might have got somebody fired for pushing you over. The whole point of the video was the way you act and how you fake your autism, and you avoided that whole thing just to talk about how the facility was bad to you. Everyone who knows who you are already knows the whole story behind your autism diagnosis. They already know that you weren't diagnosed with autism as a child, and they know that you had a job before you started faking having autism and other mental illnesses. And it's crazy that you had these people in this facility taking care of you when you had a whole ass job and you were living by yourself and shit. You're basically taking care of yourself at one point, right? You were a grown man and you had a job. And now look at you. You have people change your diaper because you have some kind of weird fetish. All right, now let's talk about this insane shit he wrote in my comments. First, let's talk about this reply. A user from my Discord by the name of Prime Evil asked him, "Aren't you the guy who was screaming, 'I'm pooping myself?' He replied with, 'Yes, because poop was coming out of me onto my legs and pants. I had no urges to go, and the unexpected things and the frustration of needs help with cleaning up made me upset. Repeat things help me cope.'" I don't even know what the fuck he was trying to say there. Like, is he just trying to say that shitting himself is a repeat thing so it helps him cope? I don't even know how to comprehend that. I just really don't. I don't know how to break that down for y'all. I don't know how to give you guys an explanation of that. That's just that. I mean, Andy just likes to shit himself. There you guys go. All right, now let's move on to my favorite comments that Andy wrote. These ones are pretty wild, and they might prove that Andy doesn't just have a personality disorder, but he's also a little bit schizoid. He starts off by saying, "Motor goes rum. Motor goes to party now. I love Rubble and Crew, especially to learn that a pup has autism. Another pup has a stub leg, and another has a disability in autism. Motor talks in the third person at times." He then replies to himself saying, "Andy loves people and being by myself." I guess he's trying to show that he has autism just like that Motor character because he's talking in the third person. I just found that shit to be so fucking creepy. Like, imagine this grown man typing on his phone talking about fucking the Paw Patrol dude. I mean, I can't even imagine where he is right now. Maybe in a mental institution. It's wild. It's crazy to think about. He then continues and writes, "One downside to Rubble and the Crew, how can they get all the stuff and not have to pay for it? First of all, they're animals and they talk." Let's get over that part first before you start talking about the economic status of the animals and like the fact that they all have little jobs and shit that they're doing. There's like a firefighter animal. I don't want to get into Paw Patrol with you guys, right? But that's just weird that that's the aspect that he thinks about. That's the one thing that's on Andy's mind is how can they pay for all the stuff? Then he starts talking about some other show called Blaze Monster Truck. He says, "Blaze Monster Truck show. In physics, inertia density of objects to resist changes in the state of motion or rest unless acted upon by an external force. For example, objects in motion will continue to move in a straight line. The objects at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by an outside force." Okay, Blaze the Monster Truck show on Nick Jr. for kids helped me understanding this law of motion better. I don't give a fuck. What the fuck does that have anything to do with the video I made or anything I said? Why did he decide to come back 6 hours later and write this weird shit? Like, what does this mean? Is he schizophrenic? Is he on drugs? What the fuck is this? Because this isn't autism, and I don't know if this is personality disorder. This is some other type of shit. I mean, I don't even know what to make of this, y'all. Maybe you guys can discuss it in the comments and think about what the fuck's going on with Andy and why the fuck he decided to come back to my video and say so much weird shit. But that's really all I have for you guys. I just wanted to give you guys that update. At first, I was just going to make a community post and show you guys the initial response. And then he just kept going and going throughout the day, like obsessively telling me different shit. It was weird. But that's it for this video, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.